Hello and welcome back to another Canaries Chat podcast. My name's Luke, and as always, I'm here with my co-host Chris, and we'll be talking all things Norwich City. We've been away for a little bit of time, so I'm keen to crack right in, straight into the action about Norwich the last couple of weeks, how it's been going, the end of transfer deadline day, some of the games we've been playing, and some of the Norwich City news. Chris, how are you, my man? It's been a long time. How have you been?
Very well, thank you, mate. Very well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm swell. I'm very excited for this season, upcoming season. Norwich City, it's been great these past couple of weeks. Seeing the direction and the vision, and seeing that implemented in the games and some of the transfers that we've got in has been very refreshing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I think it's all coming together a bit quicker than people thought. I think, like, not to get ahead of ourselves, but I know we'll go into like the previous games and bits like that. But I think the overall feeling is I wasn't expecting this kind of football and for the Thorpe approach to be in place just so quickly. I was expecting 15, 20 games down the line. So yeah, I'm very positive at this point in time.
Yeah, we'll definitely speak about that in a bit, but I'm keen to crack on. Um, Unfortunately, guys, I think this is the last time you'll be hearing us speak about transfers till January at least. So, as it's been, a couple of weeks or so, we thought we'd just recap the ingoings and outgoings at Norwich City and kind of give our thoughts on what we think about the incomings and the outgoings. God, where do we start, Chris? Is there anyone in particular you want to start with?
I think should we just address really the outgoings or the outgoing? Well, I think Rowe was basically on his way out the last time that we recorded. That's kind of all done, all over the line now. I don't think anyone was surprised. I was surprised. The only bit I was surprised about was how well we've structured that deal going forward with the 25% sell-on fee as well. I think that's extremely good. And then the only really big one else, wasn't it, was Kamara getting his move to Hull. I think once again, very well structured. Like, I can't believe we're talking 5 odd million for someone who's barely even made a championship appearance. And to be fair, Big Ken going off to Stevenage as well, I think is a very good move for him. I'm excited to see what he does there. But yeah, overall, I think the outgoings were what we expected. I don't know what you think, Lee.
Yeah, I'm not sure you can remember me saying, but I was a big admirer of Kamara, like leaving. Well, I did think at the time that Johnny Rowe would probably stay. I didn't think that he'd get back into the team, but I just couldn't, unfortunately, see a way in for Kamara within our current setup. And ultimately, we talk about how they go around these transfers, and it seems that these days, players forced to move out. The way that he went about it probably wasn't the best, but ultimately, I guess he wants game time and wants to be playing football, doesn't he? So, would he have got that at Norwich City? More than likely not. Would he even get it at Hull? I don't know, but all the best to the lad. I hope he has a bright future ahead of him. There is a player there. He just needs to get some minutes, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think, as you said, as soon as someone doesn't want to be here, we've said it on previous pods, we've got to have players that buy into it and want to be there. I think ultimately, Fashion and Forsyth starting ahead of him, and then we sign Sanakin as well. There was going to be no pathway in for him, so I get the reason why he wanted to move, but ultimately, we only want people that want to be here. So I think kind of that structured 5 million is brilliant for both parties, in all honesty.
Yeah, exactly. I think Thorpe even said that in an interview as well. He only wanted players to be here that wanted to buy into the vision and wanted to, play for the badge, play for Norwich City. And, I'm really, really pleased with the setup that we've got now. Um, Obviously, Rowe's gone. The way that he went about that situation, same as Kamara, best of luck to him in his, career. And, cheers for the one half decent season you had, my friend. But you know, it's sad that there is no loyalty in football these days, and that money speaks more than loyalty. But I guess at the end of the day, it's a job, isn't it? And if you've got more money in your job now, you would take it, wouldn't you? So
Yeah, no, I agree. Like you're not going to have your Mark Nobles and stuff like that nowadays.
they don't exist, do they? Let's be real.
Yeah, and I think ultimately, like I know it's maybe not exactly like Norwich to whole, but the climate of football's changed. I know people maybe don't agree with players going over to like Saudi Arabia, but if you can get paid 10 times the amount you're going to get paid for doing something in an easier league, kind of why wouldn't you? Like
Yeah.
if you offered the everyday bloke the chance to do what he's doing, but it's a little bit easier, but you earn 10 times as much, they'd take it. Um,
I, I
so
think for Johnny though, I think for him it was to play at the bigger, grander stage, isn't it? To try and get a better move in the future. Are they in like Europa League, Marseille, or
I'm not.
Conference? One of the two. They're definitely in Europe, aren't they?
I'm not even sure, but I suppose De Zerbi is the biggest pull, isn't he? Let's be honest. Like if you can play under De Zerbi, they've clearly got a bit of money behind. Well, I say clearly, a lot of their transfers this year have been
Yeah,
structured.
Klarna payments.
Yeah, yeah, exactly that. Like structured in a way to try and get them through, but they're clearly trying to build something and
They got
kind
good
of
players. I like
yeah,
obviously, the players there have got nothing on Grant Hanley, but they're they've got some quality players there, and I'm sure that for Johnny Rowe, for him and his progression, being around those world class players that he's got, obviously one of them isn't, and I don't want to mention his name. I think you guys know who he is, but you know, being around some of the individuals that are in that team, I think is a great step in his career, and you know, all the best to him. I think we'll end up there. All the best to him. So, on a more positive note, let's talk about some of the incomings that have come into our wonderful football club. There's been quite a few for us to speak about. I think one of the main ones is, well, one of the big ones, may I say, is Cernat, 9.5 million. I think at the time of recording this, we've actually seen a little bit of him. We've seen him play, obviously against Sheffield United, Crystal Palace in the Cup, and Coventry. Um, I think for me, my observations are, that there is a player there. I think it will just take him a little bit of time to get used to English football and being in the environment of the English game. And I'm not for a second saying that, he is a bad player at all. I think he's actually done okay in the first, 2, 3 games that he has played. But I just think we're yet to see the best of Serna, and it makes me very excited that may be the craze. But Chris, what are your thoughts?
yeah. I agree. I think I've seen flashes of him to think there's a good player there. I think like he makes intelligent runs. His first touch is normally quite decent. It's clear he wants to kind of cut in on that left foot. I think it is just about giving him time. I'm not. I don't want to heap loads of pressure on him because of the price tag. Because ultimately, like the player doesn't decide his price tag. He is only like 20. I think we've got to allow him that time to settle in. But I think he's a very good option for us. And again, his versatility that he can play striker and right wing could really play into our hands because, God forbid, if anything happened to Sarge, we are a little bit short in the kind of striker position currently. So, yeah, I think it was a good bit of business as it stands. The pressure is always going to come from other fans with that price tag that he should be a world beater, but also people are going to quickly jump on him if he's not doing 100%, like nailing it as people expect him to be as soon as he signs. People are going to then start labelling him around Jolis and Rashika and things like that. So I think got to be patient. But I think there's kind of positives to it so far, but he's not set the world alight, is the way that I look at it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it'll just take him a little time to adapt. Um, Another deadline day signing was Slimani on a season-long loan from Sheffield United with an option to buy at the end. As I said, time of recording this is after the Coventry 1-0 win, which we'll speak about in a bit. So we've only seen a slight glimpse of him in the second half that he did play in that Coventry game. But I think it's fair to say that we're all very impressed with his performance so far.
I honestly, I already love the man. Like he can do no wrong. I think it's just that I know people are going to talk about the beautiful tactical yellow card he took for the team, which was a thing of beauty. Um, but I do genuinely just think it's the way he plays. Like he just seems so comfortable with the ball at his feet in tight spaces, um, as well as being a physical presence. Like it's a very good in between to have. And the fact that he can play anywhere down the middle, whether that's more defensively or more attackingly, is a big strength of his. But yeah, I don't know. I just think he buys into it. I think he's a little bit like Callum Doyle at the moment. Like you see him and he's buying into it. He's fist pumping the fans. He's celebrating like a tackle, like a game-winning goal. And I think Slimani's going to be like that. You saw him at the end with like the fans. Like he understands it. I think he already knows what he's doing. At the end of the day, again, like, and it's a common theme of our recruitment, but he's 23. Like, we're, we're not expecting him to be the best he possibly could be at this point, but he's got a manager that I reckon, well, by what he said in his interview, plays the style he wants to play. He clearly believes he's the right player to be here. So if he's got that confidence, I think he could be absolutely mega for us. And I think the only issue is where does he fit in the midfield at the moment between Nunes, Forson, and McLean? Like it's nice to have a bit of competition, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think so. Two parts to what you've just said. The first part is, and this is probably going to sound like a quite rogue shout, or it may not. I don't think we've had a player like Slimani in that Norwich City squad for a long, long time. With where he plays, what he brings, that kind of big physical presence in the middle. I don't think we've had like a CDM, CM like type in our club for a long, long while.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very excited to see him in. And also the second point I was going to raise is I, I I think with Norwich the last couple of years, I do genuinely think it like the issue has been is there has been no competition for spots in the squad, if you know what I mean. I just
Yeah.
think like the last couple of years, you just knew what the lineup was going to be week in, week out, and there wasn't that competition at all. Maybe injuries, didn't help us with that. We had to play like some players a lot of the time, but you know, when was the last time, like genuinely, that you can think of, like we had a Norwich City squad where you were genuinely like excited from the players you could bring on from the bench? I haven't felt like that in a long, long time. Especially in recent years with Norwich, and it's just so refreshing now. Um, to kind of get excited with players that may come on and kind of change that game for us. I think unfortunately, and it's no fault of any of the players, and I'm not naming any names, but I think at some points we were losing or we were joining, and a lot of the fans would see a player come on and think, oh, for fuck's sake, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And
just
no.
like, oh, why is he coming off? Or, why is he coming on? And, I just don't think anyone can really argue with anything at this point. But that's down to two things. That's down to obviously Thorpe's vision and, getting behind with the fans and, trying to gain the fans' trust almost in what he wants to do and his style. And obviously it comes down to the recruitment from, Ben and Neil Adams and things. And as I said, I just think it's a very, very exciting time to be supporting Norwich City at the moment.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think the really interesting bit you said there was around the substitutions and not to get too much into the Coventry game, but we pulled two players off at half time. Thorpe was very honest in saying they just weren't performing to the level they need to be playing at. And we brought on two subs, which changed the game. Like,
Yeah.
we've got, and that's without another one of the new signings, Gordon, being on the bench.
hmm Yeah, exactly that. And actually, let's save the commentary chat for a bit,
Yeah.
because there's a lot for us to probably unpick in that. So, I do just want to interrupt this podcast with a public service announcement, that Callum Doyle can never do anything wrong in my eyes, and I will personally do anything to keep that man at Norwich City on a permanent deal. That man is an absolute Rolls Royce at the back for us at the moment. At his age, what he brings to the club, he's just an unbelievable football player, isn't he? He's going to make it to the very top, surely.
I I can't wrap my head around how he's playing the championship.
He's too good for the championship. That's not me being biased, and that's not me taking the piss. He's genuinely
Yeah.
too good for the championship. You can just see with the quality and what he brings, he should not be playing in this league.
He's comfortably that, like, I'm not let's not kind of like be too dramatic and say he should be starting in the Man City team, but he is
No, definitely not.
comfortably lower prem, mid prem.
100%. And that's not even like a wild take. That is
Yeah.
just factual information.
And I think once again we owe that to the absolute oracle that is Ben Nipper on getting that over the line, because that that's a superb bit of business. And I think I always thought last year Shane Duffy played better centre back when he played next to Kenny McLean. And
Mm,
for me, it was because Kenny McLean, I know people say, oh, he's not very quick on the ball and bits like that. He takes touches, but he's calm on the ball.
mm,
And that seemed to calm Duffy down in that same way. Like, he had confidence that he could play it to McLean and McLean will just take it in his stride and carry on like that move. And I think he has that exact same attitude with Doyle now of like, Doyle won't crumble under any pressure. He's fine with the ball being played into him. He's very good technically, and I think that brings the best out of Duffy as well. But yeah, Cam Doyle, he's a joke, like a genuine joke. But we all know where this is going. This has Ollie
yeah.
Skip written all over it, doesn't it?
This has heartbreak at the end.
Yeah.
That's how this ends, unfortunately.
Or we just get
Um,
the boys back together. We get promoted. We get Skip in. We get Doyle. We get Buendia in. Bosh. That's what
yeah,
happens. We get promoted.
there
We
there
bring the
were
gang
some
back
calls for
together.
Brendia back, weren't there? Like
Yeah.
legitimate shouts.
Hey,
Um,
but you never know. Get promoted. Cheeky little loan offer to Villa might happen.
no. But yeah, another deadline day signing was Gordon, like we briefly mentioned there, from Liverpool, on a season-long loan. I think one of his appearances was actually against us in the cup. I'll be completely honest, I haven't seen much of him. I know he's a winger and he probably hasn't been in like Liverpool's first team, but yeah, Chris, do you know much about him at all? Any insight?
I don't know loads. I'll be honest. I spoke to our good friend George. He's a big Liverpool fan. And he said that he's a very exciting prospect coming back from an injury. He just needs that game time, but by all intents and purposes, if he can get back to where he was pre-injury, we've got a good player on our hands. And I think it all links in to having that, as you said, that depth up top. But I know we maybe haven't got it in striker, but we have got that flexibility of with recruited players that can play in multiple positions.
Yeah,
So we do have that slight more flexibility that if Sargent was injured, heaven
Ashley
forbid,
Barnes. Oh, what?
We've got Cernak that could step into that, and then we've got Gordon that could play
Barnes
right wing.
and
Yeah,
Barnes.
yeah, we do also have Ashley
Don't
Barnes.
forget Barnes.
Well, I generally don't mind Barnes off the bench.
Do
Like,
not sleep on Ashley Barnes. He's still a Norwich City player.
announce 100 goals, 100 points. Ashley Barnes, top goal
Yeah,
scorer. But
exactly that. But yeah, I think that deal's just great for both clubs and for the player, especially. Coming back from injury, probably wants more game time. Not necessarily going to get that in the Liverpool squad with the likes of Salah in front of him.
yeah,
But yeah, I just think that's probably a great deal for both parties. Hopefully, he gets a bit of game time with us. So we'll see. Hopefully, he has a good year. I hope it's not another Ollie Skip Doyle situation and we fall in love with him and then he has to go. But we'll see. And another kind of big name, I guess, that we've got in is Schwartau. Very, very highly rated youth prospect. Again, came on against Crystal Palace and came on again against Coventry. I think there's something to be very excited about in that player, isn't there?
yeah. I think. Well, don't get me wrong. I'd never heard of him before he came along, but a lot of the Danish press were saying how much of a highly rated youngster he was. And he just seems to have this like confidence on the ball. The ball sticks to his feet whenever he has it. He made some lovely overlapping runs when he came on at half time. But yeah, I think he's got big potential. Whether we see that this year or not, I think will probably depend on like injuries and performances ahead of him. But yeah, I think that's a kind of really exciting sign from what I've seen so far.
I think that's kind of it for transfers. And obviously, we spoke about transfers before. The likes of Christine come in previously at left back. Obviously, we keep raving on about Doyle coming in as well. And we've already spoken about Forson. I think, yeah, overall, a very good transfer deadline, don't you?
Well, I know like some people are actually disappointed with the transfer window with like us not getting a permanent replacement in for Kamara. But I think the issue is once you've already like let him go permanently on deadline day to get a permanent deal back is going to be even harder, and that's when you do your panic buys. So I think a loan deal to cover that kind of position is more than good enough. But yeah, I think a strong 7-8. I'm pretty happy with the transfer window, so I can't complain.
I think what people have got to realise is that the loan deals like are all strategic, and you think like I know people are annoyed about them not being permanent or some deals not being permanent, but we're not actually seeing a lot of our transfer money that we're going to get for some of these players until next year anyway. So I think it's all been strategically planned on the players that we have in and why we've got them in. It's because we're not probably going to be seeing half the money that we have got for players. It's not kind of going straight back in, if that makes sense. Well, I know some of it
Yeah,
has, but like that row, we're not seeing any of that till next year. Whatsoever. So, how much was that? Like 15 mil, 20 mil, roughly altogether. Um,
yeah. Same Sarah. Sarah's got instalments to it as well, hasn't it?
Exactly. So I think it's hard to invest in permanent players when the money isn't actually there for us to do it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you on it.
But I wouldn't be disappointed. I think we should be happy that we've got the players that we do, and we get to just enjoy watching them for, at least a season. Sit back and enjoy the ride, is what I say. We're in for a very eventful, exciting season.
Certainly are, Luke. Certainly are. That leads us nicely into the games, I think.
Yeah, so I think the first one we need to catch up on is Sheffield United. I think there was a lot of pre-match nerves going into that game with how well they've recruited and how they'd kind of started off the season. Um, I I kind of reluctantly kind of say I think we're all a little bit surprised with the outcome of that game, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't think. I think I was thinking like 3-0 or 3-1.
Yeah,
So yeah, I really can't complain. To be honest, I think we played really well. I was quite shocked at Sheffield United. Like I
yeah.
don't think they
They were
like
no way
didn't.
good. They were no way or nowhere as good as the hype. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, and that's partly down to us. Like
Yeah,
I genuinely thought they would absolutely boss us over the pitch, but I think that's credit to our boys, um, credit to the manager as well. But yeah, it was just a really odd game. Like I just didn't feel like we were under like loads of pressure at any point, and it felt. I know some people maybe even felt slightly disappointed, but if someone would have offered me a draw at the start of the game, I would
well,
have
yeah.
taken
I
it with
mean,
both hands.
it was another season where Kiefer Moore done sweet FA at Carrow Road. That seems to be a continuous pattern from him. But the only reason he done sweet FA was because Duffy had an absolute game of his life. I thought he was incredible that game, and he dealt well with that attacking threat of Kiefer Moore, and that is a sign of a true professional to kind of come back from the absolute grilling he got the week before against Blackburn to then put on the cracking performance that he did against Sheffield United. I think that just shows what a true pro he is. And we'll get on to the Coventry game as well, where he had another really good game. But unfortunately, I think our Cordoba Hills Doyle manifesto is buried. I think it's looking like Doyle and Duffy will be the two that start our or will be our centre back partnership this year. But that's okay with me. That is okay from what I've seen so far. And it's nice to kind of have Cordoba come on as that like security, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
and again, no disrespect to any player, but it's that security is a lot better than other previous players that we've had that have come on in the 80th minute, where you've kind of thought they're a little bit shaky.
Yeah, no, absolutely, completely agree on all basis. I think Duffy. I mean, we'll get into the Coventry game later, but I think Duffy's been um, performing well in the league, and yeah, Cordoba maybe just needs a little bit more time to get into it. But I'm not worried if we have three very good centre backs or three centre backs vying for two positions. Like I'm absolutely fine with that. That is, as you said, we've had a lack of competition in positions. We've now got a bit of competition in areas, and that's only going to bring the best out of all three of them, personally.
Mhm. Definitely. Obviously, Sargent back to his old scoring ways. What an assist from Forster that was. That was completely planned as well. That was a cracking little ball through to him, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I think that was like a Thorpe ball, nearly in full swing in places. It was just that quick, sharp, that drilled pass into from Nunes to Forson. One touch took about three players out of the game, and it was a very tidy finish from Sarge. So yeah, I thought that was a very very good assist, and that's where I think the issue lies now. Is we've got well, it's not an issue, but again, we've got like four centre midfielders now that I think are all comfortable playing across all positions in centre midfield. So yeah, I
A
think
good
we're
problem to have, isn't it?
exactly. It's a good headache for Thorpe to have, in my opinion.
I'll be honest. I think a lot of fans and myself included, didn't give Kenny McLeod some slack, but I think it was kind of clear to say the first couple games he probably didn't hit the ground running as much as he would like. There was questions from myself on whether he could actually kind of adapt to that Thorpe style. I did personally feel against Blackburn and Oxford he was a little bit too out of his depth, but bear in mind, caveat to that, I did say that he's a top professional, and it's not that he can't change to that style and that he won't.
Yeah, so like just reiterating what you're saying, like he is a class professional. Like he was always, I think, going to adapt. It was just how long it would take. But as I mentioned at the start of the pod, I didn't imagine that we'd be so quick in implementing this style of play. And that is props to players like Kenny who have managed to adapt quicker than we thought. Yes, it took a few games to get into, but he's now firing on all cylinders. I think Nunes as well has been immense. I think he deserves a big shout out. I think he's been really good. And then you've got the likes of Forson and Slimane as well, kind of fighting over that position on whether it's reinforcing slightly defensively or having that slightly more attacking style and flair. Like we're we're in a very good position, but I think Kenny McLean is just once again showing what a great professional he is, and that one of the many reasons why he won our Player of the Year last year.
Yeah, definitely. I think Sheffield United is a really good kind of indication on how we should probably kind of see ourselves going forward this year, because I think it was actually fair to say that we're probably disappointed not to come away with the full 3 points there.
Yeah, yeah, no, completely agree.
I don't think that's an unfair statement to make.
No,
You know,
no,
it was a little bit frustrating in the way that we conceded. I think you know just the way that it kind of just bounced around that penalty box for so long. It was just kind of waiting for their player just to hit it, wasn't it? That was a little bit frustrating, but yeah, I think it was overall a good point against a okay team that are probably going to do very well this season.
yeah, no, I completely agree. If that's kind of the standard for top six slash automatics, then we're going to be a lot closer than originally thought.
Definitely. So moving away from Sheffield United, we are then quickly into our second League Cup round against Crystal Palace. Before we go through the kind of our thoughts on the game, I don't think anyone was expecting Palace to field a full strength squad.
No, not at all. But as soon as I
Um,
saw that, I was thinking we are going to get battered.
yeah, I think there was a lot of nerves coming into that game with the squad that they fielded. Just on Palace on that, I think they haven't started the Prem very well. So maybe they kind of just wanted a bit of like a morale booster, to kind of ease past us. Because I'll be honest, like they've well got the like ability of players to do that within their squad. I think it's fair to say a full strength Palace team easily beats a full strength Norwich team. Um, but 4-0. But the general consensus is that weirdly we're actually very happy with that.
Yeah, I think I only managed to catch bits of the game, but yeah, it seemed to me that we were very happy with the style of play. We were actually well in it for long periods of the time and better team for periods of the time. But I don't think there's too much like to look into that game kind of from our end. But it's more around the club for me. So I think if we would have got battered 4-0 last year in the League Cup game, and then we'd just sold a young winger similar to Barley Mumba. Barley Mumba was outraged. Fans couldn't believe it. Kamara was like, "Well, actually, yeah, like if he doesn't want to be here, that's fine." If like the performance was there against Palace, and people can see that and are buying into it now. The club. If we had lost 4-0 with Wagner and we'd set up shop trying to scrape through a 0-0 or nick a goal, then and then go on to lose 4-0, people would have been losing it. And I think that's a huge shift in momentum and also a huge shift in mindset that the fans have now bought into it. And I think that was a little bit like, oh, the Oxford game didn't go to plan. But with recent performances, I think everyone's kind of full steam ahead, jumping on board and kind of trusting Napa and trusting Thorup to do what's best for the club, really.
Yeah, and obviously I'm not going to blow my own trumpet, and I know we only get about 50 listeners to this, but I did say it in the last pod, just get behind the bloody team, support them, and I think that's definitely what we're starting to do now. Like we said, it's just too early to judge Thorup and how he wants to play. Like, all credit where credit's due, they're kind of playing our standards, aren't they?
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
said, I don't think we expected it to gel this quickly. You've got to give a bunch of new players, new management time to gel. And I just don't think, we notoriously we have been a club to get on the back of things really quick, but it's nice to kind of, I will say it, see the old Norwich back almost, and buy into it, and support the club that we all love, because I'll be honest, it's been very, very dark fucking times at the minute supporting Norwich, hasn't it? I think we can all be honest. To the point where people just weren't even turning up because they just knew how it was going to be. And credit to Napa, credit to Thorup for getting that kind of community back together, where hopefully we're looking to nearly sell out Carrow Road each week and getting a good following away. Because that's the Norwich that we all know and love.
yeah. No, definitely. As you said, under previous managers, there'd be a lot of hesitation, or do I even really want to go to the game because I know that we're maybe just going to try and nick a goal and then set off. But yeah, got to buy into it. Fans are definitely buying into it now, and it's a really good place to be in, I think, at the moment.
Well, what I will say, and I don't want to blame it on Webber because I'm not that person to point fingers, but like the recruitment of Wagner, that there was no way we could buy into anything because he was just on a rolling contract. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? It's like we all knew he was going to just leave at some point. He was just there to fill a void because we just wanted to save some money. Like, I know that ultimately that isn't all down to Webber and his recruitment, and obviously they probably had their reasons at the time. But you just couldn't buy into anything because there physically wasn't a manager there to buy into.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and I think that's what made it really difficult for a lot of Norwich fans. And I think that's what frustrated a lot of Norwich fans, to be honest, was that we had a manager there that I don't doubt for a second that Wagner. I think we can look back at Wagner's run and clearly say that he was quite passionate and he wanted to do well within his role. I don't think for a second he'd done a half-hearted job, but I just think it was difficult at times to buy into that because we just knew it was a rolling contract. It may get extended, it may not. But now we have a new sporting director that's been here for a while, that wants to do well, wants to prove himself, may I add, a manager long term, that wants to implement his vision. um yeah, just very exciting. um but obviously Palace happened, out the cup now, almost kind of a good thing that we can focus on the league, and try and look to do well there. So on the back of the cup, we headed to Coventry away. I didn't realise this, but we are Coventry. We are starting to become Coventry's bogey team, aren't we?
yeah. I didn't realise that their record against us was.
So poor. It is
Yeah,
poor. That is the word. It's been awful. Mark Robbins just doesn't want to lose to his favourite club in England. Uh, but yeah, their record has been appalling, against us. Um, so I went to the game. on Saturday against Coventry, and I didn't think for a second that we were actually going to lose that game.
Mm.
First half was a bit shaky. I think we were kind of at fault for our own kind of errors in that game. I don't think Coventry really all game created anything like nice. A lot of their kind of attacks came from like silly mistakes from us in the middle. But like we said, I guess when you're implementing a new style of play and you want something to work, those mistakes are going to happen. And they're probably going to happen, for the next, 10, 20 games. There will be mistakes in that squad until we can fully implement it. But the game changes on that day were the two subs that came on at half time. Slimani absolutely changed that game in the middle, and I think that second half was men v boys. Completely played them off the park, creating really good chances. Obviously, Sainz got the goal, but yeah, overall a good 3 points on the road.
Yeah, I was just so impressed with the management in the second half. Um, and then also, I think we've been conditioned that we set off at 1-0, and
Good.
there was a bit where it was like Gunn received it, and it was very end game, and I was expecting the standard Angus Gunn run out to the edge of the box, waits for everyone to run past, steps back to the penalty area, rolls the ball out, but he just fucking threw it over one of their players' heads, to start off a counter attack. I was like, what's going on? Like this is so refreshing to see. It was just so good. I just think the game management, it was working against Coventry. So why would we bother changing it when we go 1-0 up? And
Yeah,
yeah, I just think some of the player performances in that as well. I think Shane Duffy, I thought was immense.
he
Uh,
was really,
like
really good, really solid.
the blocks he was getting in were a joke. But Callum
He, he
Doyle
he got
was,
on the end of a few like headers as well for corners.
yeah,
Unfortunate to not put them away, but he was right within that mix in that game.
yeah. I thought every member of the back four was extremely good.
Christine played very well on that left. He had an outstanding game.
Yeah.
Obviously, he did get a little bit of slack, but the performance he put in that Coventry game was really, really good. I was really impressed.
Well,
Um,
Jack Stacey got referred to as Roberto Carlos on Sky.
he
That
was he was
that
very good.
that's the kind of
He's another
performance.
player that's been getting a lot of stick recently.
Yeah.
Obviously,
No.
I was very pissed off with the little step overs, which led ultimately to that Blackburn equaliser because that wasn't needed. But um, I don't get the Jack Stacey hate. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I think
If I'm
he's absolutely
honest,
class.
I'm similar. Like I think he does sometimes have a slightly worse game than others, but like
Why is that? Why is that
I just think,
remembered?
yeah, I just think he's relatively steady Eddie. Like I think he very rarely goes below like a
He's just
six.
a solid like seven player week in week out.
Yeah, no,
Hmm.
I know, and I just think that performance against Coventry, there was a couple of times which he's clearly been instructed to do it. I think he's cutting in on his left,
Mm.
um, and there was a couple of times that like Schwartau like was running around and making that run. He cutting on his left. He doesn't really have a left foot to cross it, but it does mean that he can then play it to like our set of midfielders, obviously. But yeah, I thought he was very good. I mean, I can get our player ratings from the match because they always kind of cause a bit of debate. But we've got Gundowns a 7. I thought he was just steady. I don't think he really had a lot to do, to be honest. Um, we had Stacey as an 8, Duffy as an 8, Doyle as a 9 because he was our man of the match, Crescene as an 8. Um, we go into the midfield of McLean an 8, Nunes an 8, Forson a 6. For me, it was just there was a couple of times where he made like the wrong decision on passes, especially on counter attacks. But nothing again. I think people think 6 is terrible,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not. Like literally 5 is average.
Yeah.
So just above average, just slightly above average. I don't think he was like a world beater, but it wasn't like a horrific game. Same with Cernak. Um, Sargent was a debatable one. Whether
It
it's
wasn't debatable. Coventry just done very, very
yeah,
well to stop him playing his game. Again, I think Sargent does score quite a lot against Coventry. Mark Robbins is probably sick at the sight of the player. So I think I think their game plan was just try and not let him receive and play the way that he wants to play, and
yeah.
they've done very, very well at it. I'll be honest. They they
He's,
they they done well at kind of sniffing him out.
he
Um,
he still did the selfless stuff though, and like
exactly.
again, like a 6 isn't bad. He did the selfless stuff, but he just didn't have any service to do anything else. So it's like
Yeah.
it was out of his hands really. Like his performance, he just did a lot of the running, a bit of hold up play. But I think Coventry kind of neutralised him pretty well. We had Sainz as a 7, obviously goal scorer. Um,
Created a
he
few, but didn't do
yeah,
too much.
yeah, it was definitely a better performance than Blackburn for him. And then we went Slimani 8 and Schwartau 7. But in
Yeah,
general, you compare those ratings to the
the
ones
other
that we had
ones.
dropped in previous games, then
Hmm.
um, yeah. But honestly, I would have actually nearly made a shout for Duffy to be similar to Doyle just because I thought he was just so good in doing what he does best, and that is aerial duels and getting in the way of things. And he just played the more simple passes to Doyle, and he let Doyle do like the more extravagant passes. I thought he was immense, but things seem to be moving in the right direction, which is what we
Yeah.
like to see.
Well, there are three main points that I've kind of highlighted from that game that I just wanted to run through with you and see if you kind of noticed to pick up on. So I think the main one is us actually looking to bully teams.
Yeah,
And what I mean by that is pick up yellow cards. I think, so many seasons, it goes back further than I think Fark. We just like on counters, we just kept backing off, backing off, backing off. We never had that player that would just go into a player and just take that yellow. And I think
yeah,
we've seen that evidently now. And I think that's something really refreshing, like you mentioned on, and one that obviously springs to mind is that Slimani yellow. We haven't seen stuff like that for a long, long while, and we just don't see us picking up them yellows, but we're starting to do it, and I'm all here for it. I think it's class, but I want to see that bit of grittiness and kind of bullying and in the middle of the park
yeah,
and just taking them yellows. The other thing that I noticed is Angus Gunn. He's definitely been told to punch the ball out now more than rather than go for catches. I'm not sure if you noticed that, but he always punch a ball out now.
yeah. And he's always quick on getting it out of his hands when he does catch it. Like there's
He-
some kind of urgency now to everything as soon as we've got the ball. So no, I definitely agree with that one.
He's always punching that bloody ball out. And he's never I can't remember him really doing that before, in all honesty. But yeah, he's always just looking to punch that out and get rid. And that's been really good to see as well. I think so many times we've kind of been caught in those set piece areas, haven't we? And not clearing our lines well enough in previous years. And I think it's good that they're just looking to get rid, basically. And the last thing was, and I know it's Thorpe's style, but the short passing and the finding the space is just absolutely unbelievable. I could not believe what I was watching that second half at Norwich. I I, I was just like, this isn't us. Do you know what I mean? But it isn't like the typical Norwich City style of play. I think what Thorpe has brought in is something that we've been trying to do for the last 3 years, and it's now paying off. And I honestly, I was just blown away. And maybe I'm getting too a bit of my head in myself, but the little just short, like we were just absolutely playing it around him. And I was going back to the car on Saturday, and there were some Coventry fans walking, obviously back to their car as well. And they were basically just saying that our midfield just absolutely bossed them off the park, and that was just so nice to hear because we did at the end of the day.
Yeah,
We just completely outplayed him. Slimani, doing what he had to do, and just those like quick little passes, and you know, there's so many boos, isn't there, previous years, and us going back and us not going forward, but we are going back now. We are going
yeah,
back like we have been doing, but there's just so much more urgency to the passes. It's literally 1-2 shot stuff. I've noticed it's not, hold on to the ball for 5-6 seconds and then find a pass. It's
yeah.
like get it into your feet, play it out. Get it into your feet, play out, and it's just such like quick stuff. It's just honestly been an absolute joy to watch.
No, I completely agree. That was one of my biggest pet peeves is people shouting "get it forward" when you're trying to build out from the back, and then moan when you do get it forward because you've gone long and it's come back. Like you just got to trust the process. Maybe we need to like slow it down a little bit from our point of view because in my head I'm thinking full swing HMS Pistol League, let's go. But
No, that is
yeah,
happening. Don't worry.
but no, I'm just really encouraged to see the progress we've made in a very short space of time.
Yeah, it's been very refreshing, hasn't it? It's been really good to see. And we've got international break now. Sad times. I think we all just want Norwich City back. Um, but we go again, Swansea away. What do you think about that game, Chris? Surely we come away with a win after 2 weeks off, right?
Yeah, I think international break, although I hate it, will serve us quite well to continue building. But yeah, I'd like to think we've got enough to maybe get past Swansea. Maybe like a 2-1. I'm, I feel like I should have more confidence in our defence, but yeah, I do think we might concede. So I'll go with a 2-1 Norwich win, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. If we play to the same standard we did against Coventry, I can't see us losing that game in all honesty. But yeah, no, Norwich City back on the rise again. I know we've only got one win so far this season, but um, you can clearly see the vision on what's going on. It's very, very refreshing to see. So, OTBC. Chris, I believe you have a little game.
I do. So carrying on from, I believe the one before last episode, you brought Tenable to my door,
I did.
and I'm returning the favour
Oh, lovely. Okay.
for yourself. So we've got a lovely game of Tenable. Um,
Right.
I would say this is harder than the one you gave me, uh,
Ooh.
but I will kind of give you a small hint of that you would have watched all these players, so we're not going kind of before your time on these. So, Luke, I would like you to name the top 10 assist makers for Norwich in the Premier League.
Oh my God. Okay. Top 10 assists in the Prem.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for Norwich, obviously,
In the Premier League.
in the Premier League.
So yeah, it's got to be last 10 years because it wouldn't be like from the 90s, would it?
No, no, they're all within your time
My
frame.
time. Right.
Um,
Okay. So my head at the minute is going back to like 2011 to when we were in there for 3 years. And then obviously some longevity players that have been there recently. Um, I've got 3 lives, is it?
3 lives.
Okay, right. Is Grunt Holt in there?
Is Grant Holt one of your answers?
I'm just thinking he did play up top. This is actually a lot harder than you think. I'm going to go Grant Holt.
Grant Holt is not tenable. He is just
Oh my God.
outside. He is actually 11th
You're joking.
with 4.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay. So it's got to be 4 or more then. Okay. Amy Buendia.
Emi Buendia is tenable. He has got 7. He is coming in 5th.
Okay. Buendia. I'm going to go Timu Puki.
Timu Puki is also tenable. He's coming in at 8th with 6.
Because I'm thinking so I'll tell you where my head's at. My head at the minute is potentially Alexander Tay because of how long he spent beforehand, then coming back up under Neil, and then going in again under. Fuck. He must have had a good 5, 6 years. I'm going to go Alexander Tay.
Alexander Tessie is not tenable.
You're joking me.
Um, he only had 2 assists.
What?
So yeah, you've only got 1 life, Luke.
Now let's say 2, because at 11, come on.
Okay. I'll let you. You can have 4 lives. Go on.
Okay. How am I allowed to know how many the top one was?
Yeah, yeah. So the top player got 18 assists.
Oh my God. Am I being dumb?
Yes,
Really?
yes.
Are they still playing?
They're not still playing for Norwich now. That's more than enough clues.
I'm really struggling. I
I
can't
would.
lie.
I think that 3, 4, 5, 6 of them are all very, very close together. One of them is kind of noughties time. The rest are all very close together.
I've got 2 in my head.
Go for
Don't
it.
don't tell me why. I've got Andrew Sermon and Anthony Pilkington and Robert Snodgrass.
So you had 2 lives remaining before that.
No, they're not. They're not. They're not my guesses.
Oh, okay.
That's just where my head's at. I'm gonna go. Okay. Where's Houlihan?
Wes Hoolahan is indeed tenable with 18 assists.
Right, he's number 1.
Yeah.
Right, thank God that's not out of my mind. Uh, I'm gonna go Anthony Pilkington.
Anthony Pilkington is tenable. Yeah, fine. He's got 5. He comes in at 10.
Okay. I'm either thinking of your favourite player
All I'm
or
saying is think of what I've said around. They all kind of play similar era,
yeah, and that's where I'm.
apart from the one that was kind of naughty's time.
Which was Wes.
No,
Oh, there's another one, is there?
yeah,
Okay.
Wes is across all the eras.
Okay, so how many have I got?
You've got 4 currently.
Oh, great. 2 lives left. I'm thinking like Fox was in the middle. I'm pretty sure Sermon played in the middle as well. Crofts didn't really play a lot in. Teddy's not in there. That baffles me.
Yeah, it
That
doesn't baffle. It doesn't baffle me. I've seen
well,
Teddy
no,
Basketball.
well, it does. It's just because of how many seasons he had in the Prem with us.
He was too busy scoring screamers from 30 yards to be passing for
Yeah.
anyone.
There aren't any like rogue ones like a goalkeeper in here, is there?
No. You'd know more, and you wouldn't be surprised by any of them. I think maybe third, you'd maybe slightly surprised, but not outrageously surprised.
I can't believe So Pookie's on there. I can't believe Holt wasn't on there. That's nuts. I got more. Pilkington. All right, I'm going to go Andrew Sermon.
Andrew Salmon is not tenable.
Oh
You
my
have
God.
one life. You have mentioned
Yeah, David
one.
Fox.
You have mentioned one of them. I will be nice and say it's not David Fox, the one that you mentioned.
Robert Snodgrass.
Robert Snodgrass is tenable.
See, that is absolutely insane for me because he played for us for one season, wasn't it?
He is second with 9 assists.
He got that in one season,
Was it the one season he played
or
for
was
us
it
in the
two?
Prem?
And he
Not.
went to Hull.
I will fact check that while you are having a look.
Oh, I'm really struggling. I'm struggling. I might have to tap out. I never got 6.
Snodgrass did play 2
Two
seasons.
seasons.
You've got 5. One of them
5.
from the bottom up. You've got a right winger.
I'm going to go Elliot Bennett.
Elliot Bennett is third.
You're joking.
He is tenable. He's got 8 assists. That was the one I
What?
thought would throw you off.
I was just a right winger. I was just like, well, it's got to be.
You've got 2 very tricky players. One that you'd say has a foot-like traction engine, and one of my favourite players of all time, but he slightly muddied the water over the last couple of years.
Is Kenny McLeod in it?
Is Kenny McLean your answer, Luke? That's the
Yeah.
thing. Kenny McLean is not tenable. You
Right.
are unfortunately knocked out, Luke.
That's fine.
In order, you've got Anthony Pilkington with
10.
5 at 10. You've got at
Yeah.
9 Nathan Redmond with 6.
What? Oh.
In 8 you have Timu Puki with 6. At 7 you have Johnny Howson with 6.
Of course.
At
You're not going
6
to say Bradley Johnson, are you?
At 6th you have a Darren Huckabee with 7.
Oh, okay.
At 5th we've got the wonderful magician that is Emi Buendia on 7. And 4th with 8 is Bradley Johnson.
Oh my God. I went through the wrong times.
Yeah. 3rd, Elliot Bennett with 8. 2nd, Robert Snodgrass with 9. And top with 18 is Wes Hoolahan.
That is
See,
just nuts. Like,
they were
some
all
of the players only
similar.
played 1-2 years.
They were all similar era, but yeah, I was surprised to see Elliot Bennett up there. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But there we go, Lee. Unfortunately, you didn't win Norwich City Tenable, but we'll be back
Did
next
you
week.
win it
I'm sure.
last time?
I don't know if I did. I know. I think I did, but mine was a lot
'Cause
easier.
you-
It was a
Well,
lot
exactly. Well, if you hit me with stuff like that, then I know what games I've got to bring
easier.
next week. So,
Yeah.
be prepared for that because it's going to be a stinker.
I look forward to it, Luke. I look
Good,
forward
because you've made me look like an absolute mug
to it.
in front of the nation.
Yeah, no, you did that yourself, buddy. But
Yeah, true.
anyway,
Yeah.
Luke, on more lighter notes, we had our wonderful giveaway to do, didn't we?
God, we did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah. It
did.
was I thought that was the start of August. We put that up, and then we recorded a pod just as it went up, and then we obviously recorded Damien Francis podcast and the one straight after that. So we just haven't got around to sorting it out. But the draw has just been done, Luke. And
Okay.
I am happy to announce that Chloe Thurston has won the competition. So it was won the
Well
giveaway.
done, Chloe.
So Chloe, if you want to drop us a message on X as well, and also as mentioned, if you can prove that you have been subscribed to the YouTube channel, we did put out on X that you'll get an extra something as well as the kit.
Go on. What
But
is that extra something? What is it?
well, Luke, I have some signed Norwich City football cards
Oh, okay.
here.
Nice.
So, yeah, I will maybe put one or two in there if Chloe is subscribed. If not, we can roll them over to the next giveaway whenever that is. But yeah, very well done, Chloe. There was a lot of people that didn't bother doing like one of the steps in the giveaway, which I found very odd. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
reach out to us, Chloe. Obviously, if you don't in a certain amount of time, we'll reach out to yourself anyway. But yeah, well done, and yeah, keep your eyes on X for the next giveaway whenever that is, Luke.
Definitely. It's been really nice to do these, isn't it? And kind of give back. Um, Obviously, it's helped us out a little bit as well, but it's always nice to do a little giveaway and give back to you guys. So well done, Chloe. Enjoy your Norwich City third kit, and we'll get that out to you soon. One thing I was going to mention was that obviously me and Chris do go to all the home games. We're both season ticket holders. I proudly represent the Barclay Lower. Chris, where do you proudly represent?
I am the Upper Regency security stand. Or
Block D.
the NMP as I'll always call it. Go on, boy.
Yeah, yeah. But me myself, I go to a lot of the away games. So we're just putting the feelers out there. Would you guys like to see some potential match day vlogs? Potential some clips of the games, kind of fan reactions. If that is something, the journey down as well. I don't know what you're into, but maybe fun seeing us stop at some of the service stations. I don't know. But if that is something you want to see, then let us know down in the comments below. I'm sure it's something that we could accommodate, right, Chris?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure you'd be accommodating more than me on away games because I do not go to many. So,
Yeah.
um,
So yeah, maybe we look to do that, and see where that leads us. But Chris, it's been a very long pod today. I think we had a lot to catch up on. We did have our mini break, but we're back full in the swing of things. I say that there's no football on at the moment, Norwich related. um, but yeah, anything from you before we let the lovely listeners leave off?
no, that is all from me. Just yeah, have a lovely rest of your week, Luke.
Oh, you too, Chris. And I think I speak on both of us and say, I hope you all have a lovely rest of your week as well. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are around the world. As always, if you could, be so kind and give us a review on Spotify, subscribing to our YouTube, our TikTok, Instagram, and X account. That would be greatly appreciated. Chris, I almost forgot. Thank you all for 1,000 followers on X.
Oh yeah, I did forget. Yeah, thank you very much. It's
Yeah,
hopefully the start, just the start, Luke.
the start of our journey that we're looking to bring all you guys on. Although 1,000 may not seem like a lot to you guys, I think I speak on behalf of me and Chris. It means the absolute world to us. I don't think that I just don't think we ever thought we'd get to this stage so quick, in all
Yeah,
honesty. But that's all thanks to you guys and all of your support and the feedback on the podcast. It's been absolutely amazing, and me and Chris just love doing these. We'll still, love doing it if we get, more views, less views, whatever. Me and Chris just absolutely love Norwich City Football Club. And we just like talking about football, don't we, Chris? Gives us a chance to
yeah,
ramble, really, doesn't it? So,
yeah, exactly.
you know,
It
um,
means we can actually do work when we're working and not talk about football.
yeah. And you get to probably laugh at our expense and
Yeah.
cut some awful takes that we've already had about 3 months doing it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you all for all your continued support. It means the world to me and Chris. And like we said, this is just the start, and we're going to look to do even more in the future, especially as the season goes on. But Chris, thank you so much, my man. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. I hope you have a lovely, lovely rest of your week. Thank you all for listening today. I hope you all have a lovely week, whatever you're doing. I'll hopefully see you all soon. On the Bull City.